Okay. I'm gonna check Instagram.
I'm gonna go to this chat. Then you'll see how many people are in here by this.
You guys come in whenever you like. We're just doing it quick. And that's the Instagram.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Okay, let's see here.
I think I gotta check from a different account. Okay. Oh yeah, you're right. There you go. Where's Patricia? We close at 6 o'clock. Yeah. If you can you give me maybe 1 minute, we're setting up the podcast. Give me about, I can jump up there.
Oh.
You're on the phone. So it's showing me you're on. It doesn't show you what that's that. Oh, this is what you can do. So if you look here, you can see comments here, and you can see comments here. That's your plan.
Okay, which one is this? Okay, and this one is
This is YouTube and Facebook.
okay.
These are the people that's going to. Okay. Hey, good morning.
Hello, Brian, an unstoppable season. We just want to make sure if you guys have any questions, you can ask. I just want to make sure screen. Oh, oh gosh, I'm getting a reverb. Let's see. You're right there. All right, testing. So here, let's see. Click on that. See how delayed that was?
Yeah,
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's better. We just want to make sure this goes out to everyone on every channel, on every stage of our social media. All right. If you got any questions, if you have any questions at all, write them down so you can ask, or you can even ask now. Let's see, it's 5 o'clock. Okay, let's get this going here. Whew, okay. You want to check your Instagram? You're going?
Yeah. You say, you want to check it?
Oh, yeah. See if it's going.
Oh, I
It's
did,
going.
yeah.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay, good. All right. All right, perfect. Brian, Unstoppable Season. Hey, if you guys have any questions, you can ask them. It's like you and I. It's us, I should say, in here right now. I don't know. Today we're going to talk about bones anyway, while we wait people to come in. And if you remember, we were going over the 5 factors of aging as people age. And people age from the time they're born. That's what people don't get. You age from the time you're born. As soon as you come into the planet, you're birthed into this world. I used to always tell myself, you come in the front door and you're on your way out the back. Because, and it was a kind of a dark thing, but I said, as soon as you're born, the process of death is working in your body. But it's not, because we have growth. We go through our stages of growth, and that's what makes all the difference in the world. But then when we get to a certain age, it's what they call maybe a decline for some, sooner than others. But the thing is, my contention is that it's preventable. But when I studied the aging and the factors of aging, I kind of summed it up with 5 things. You lose muscular strength, you increase body fat, your lungs actually shrink. You can lose 20% by the time you're 40. You can lose 40% by the time you're 70 if you're not deliberately creating an oxygen debt. And you can actually lose more than that if you're a smoker or a sitter or someone that doesn't get enough rest, or you're lonely. I know you wouldn't think loneliness can affect your lungs. Right, relationships. I said yesterday that the greatest source of pain and pleasure on the planet is relationships. I know that sounds funny, but think about it. The greatest source of pain and or pleasure are relationships. Because when a relationship is great, it's exciting, it's good. You got that oxytocin going through your body. You feel like you can walk on clouds. But if it goes awry, things don't happen the way you wanted them to, greatest source of pain. And that pain is not just emotional, it's not just mental, it's physiological. Because if you remember, your body is the expressed image of the invisible mind. Your body literally is the visible barometer of what occurs mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And it always shows up in the body. And the way that it shows up in the body is through thoughts. And that's why I always tell you in my book, Body Intelligence, that a thought goes into the body at the speed of light, actually faster than the speed of light, because before you even realize you're thinking that thought, the chemical and the electrical energy of that thought is already coursing through your veins, tendons, ligaments, cartilage, connective tissue, all of the things that we call bones in our bone structure. But not only that, it goes through every cell, tissue, and organ. So it affects you across the board, because remember, your cells, every one of your 100 trillion cells are just like you. Your cells eat, they drink, they breathe, they poop, they get pissed off like you do, they get excited, they have memory and imagination. And I know you think like, well, how does your cells have memory? Well, your cells remember to look like you and not like me. That's why you look like your parents and not like my parents. But not just on the outside, you look like your parents on the inside, in your cellular structure, in your viscera. That's why I was saying you can have your dad's heart, your mom's lung, your grandfather's liver, your grandmother's spleen, and so on and so forth. And yes, you can have congenital strengths and weaknesses. You know, some people can have greater lung capacity. Some people can naturally have more bone density. Some people can have bigger and stronger muscles naturally, genetically speaking, or like I said, in the memory of a cell. You can automatically do that. You can automatically, some people even increase more fat because of that memory of a cell. So the thing is, it's working across the board all the time. But because we're talking about bones, and I know we don't think about them that much, we just live our lives. We get up and move. From the time we started walking, we didn't think of it as a big thing, but even from the time we started walking, we had to overcome, literally, we had to overcome gravity. And that's what I was saying yesterday. I think it wasn't yesterday. We live in this ocean called gravity. So gravity is always exerting itself upon us. It pushes on us all the time. And not just gravity, but we have this atmospheric pressure of like 14.8 pounds pushing on us all the time from every direction. But gravity comes down on us. And so I kind of gave the example in one of the talks that if, you know, I've had a 24,000 pound Mack truck in this hand and a 4-ounce Tonka toy truck in this hand, and I threw them off a high-rise building at the same time, which one would land first? And I always get people looking back and forth, trying to figure it out. And they go like, oh, I think it's the heavier one. And then someone else might say, well, I think it's the lighter one. And then I go, well, okay, what's your final answer? And then all of a sudden they switch. Just because I asked them, what's your final answer? And they said, well, maybe it is the lighter one. Then the other person, maybe it's the heavier one. Well, believe it or not, when you throw them both off a high rise at the same time, they both land at the same time, because gravitational force is constant. It's 32 feet per second squared until it reaches terminal velocity. But that exertion, that gravity, that force that always existed until someone, they say like Newton, I don't know if Newton actually discovered it, but until, you know, sitting under an apple tree and an apple hit him in his head over and over again, he said, well, this is a force. But anyway, this force is constantly exerting itself on us, and is exerting itself on us in a straight line. And so that's why people can lift weights. And when they lift the weights, they lift it always, the greatest force is when it's in opposition to gravity. But I love to use bands because outside of gravity, when you're lifting weights, it's this like one directional thing. But bands is multi-directional. You can get a band and pull it like you're serving and, you know, or serving in a tennis court, or you're doing a forehand or a backhand, or you're coming up at an angle, or even if you're doing martial arts, you can do it all from different angles, up, down, left, right, and out any angle that you want. And the reason why I'm talking about all of this is because it has to do with our bone structure. And what about bone density? So again, so you can get clear, as you get older, you lose muscular strength, you increase body fat, your lungs shrink, and your bones thin out. So I always say you can fight osteoporosis and osteoarthritis, but it's more than that. You can have osteogenesis imperfecta. You can have normal arthritis. You can have rheumatoid arthritis. You can have all kinds of problems with your, not just your bones, but your tendons, your ligaments, the cartilage, the connective tissue. This is all part of the structure. And what people don't realize is that, let me get in on this. I'm sorry. Pull this thing up. What we don't realize is that the bones, it literally gives us structure. It gives us frame. It actually gives us shape. So, even though women may have a different shape from men, the shape by and large is because of skeletal structure. And that's what gives us frame. A lot of times we take it for granted, but I'm telling you, it's so serious. I remember one time when I was on the fire department, we got a call on Vista Del Mar. That's out by the ocean, Playa del Rey. And it was in the middle of the night. I think it was like 12:30 after midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. But it was just raining really hard. And we got the call. And so we get out there and there's this head-on collision. And so this guy in a painter's truck just was drunk and he pulled over into the other lane and he just had a head-on collision with the other car. And inside of the car was this 24-year-old female. And she had on, I think she had on a Marie Callender apron. But, the car was just smashed. It was total. So we had to get the jaws of life and cut the frame, cut the A-frame, the B-frame, cut the post in the car, and then fold the top back and just separate the steering wheel from her and all of that. But it took a long time. It took maybe about 20 minutes to get everything situated. But anyway, we put her up and out of the car. So imagine now, she's in a head-on collision, but I grab her from her shoulders, pull her up out of the car, and then set her down on the street. She literally went down like an accordion. You think if you lay a body down, it's going to lay down and then lay flat. Well, because all of the bones in her body were broken, she was literally like a bag of bones. And so we set her down. It's just like she just literally came straight down like an accordion. Yeah, and it made us all feel weird because we never thought of it like that. But bones give us our frame. And when those bones are shattered, it's literally like a bag of bones. But see, not only that, you can break an arm, break a leg, you can have a fracture, you can have a dislocation, and then you'll appear to have these deformities. And so we can't take our bones for granted. A lot of people play baseball, basketball, football. They do, like I said, these sudden moves and shatter a tendon or a ligament or whatever. And they have all the ACLs, fractures or whatever, or tears. And I tell you, bone density is everything. And we kind of think of the bones just giving us frame and density, but they make blood as well. And if you remember, the life of the flesh is the blood. Every 120 days, we have all new blood cells. And every cell in the body is first a blood cell. That's how you make a new liver cell, spleen, gallbladder, pancreas, ovarian cell, uterine cell, prostate cell, testicular cell, lung cell, brain cell. Any cells you want to make, that's where they're made. But the thing is, if you don't have the bone density and you have all of these problems, you don't have enough calcium, most of the calcium in the body is stored in the bones. And so when the body's over-acidic, how do you get osteoporosis and osteoarthritis? Again, when the body's over-acidic, the body has to compensate to try to alkalize itself. So initially, it may retain water to dilute the acid because acid burns. Remember that? But not only that, the body can produce cholesterol to protect the blood vessels from the acid. The body can literally make you fat or literally create fat to store the acid to keep it away from the organs. Or by and large, and what we're talking about tonight, it can leach calcium out of the bones to neutralize the acid. Because calcium is an alkaline-based mineral. And because the body's over-acidic, it wants to become more alkaline. So it leaches the calcium out to make the blood more alkaline. But listen, if that calcium gets in your eyes, you get cataracts. If the calcium gets in your skin, you get wrinkles. If the calcium mixes with the fat in your arteries, you'll get hardening of the arteries. If the calcium gets in your kidneys, you'll get kidney stones. Calcium in your bladder, bladder stones, and calcium in your joints, we call it arthritis. But the body is always trying to compensate. So hopefully you can get from this picture, when we have so-called ailments with the bones or any ailment at all, it's the body's compensatory effort. It's the body trying to keep you well. It's the body trying to balance everything out. It's the body always trying to reach what we call homeostasis. But if we look at it as a disease, then we're going to try to take a drug or a medication or a poison, like I call it, to go in and remedy that. But the thing is, it comes from, I always say it, we came out of the earth. You have to remain in the earth and partake of the earth in order to live. And so what most women do, and they'll have osteoporosis and osteoarthritis more readily than men. And that's because men are always doing some kind of weight bearing something, usually when they grow up, and women don't do as much. But they'll take calcium, magnesium supplements, which again, to me, for the most part, are made in the laboratory because they want to take your money through some so-called nutritional substance. But you'll wind up having those calcium spurs all over your bones because you're really not going to assimilate it. Like I was saying last night, you can take oyster shells and pulverize them. Yes, there's calcium in oyster shells, but if you pulverize it and take them, you still can't assimilate it because it's inorganic. So the thing is, what is the fastest way to build bone density? I tell you, it's not calcium magnesium supplements. It is literally weight-bearing exercise. And yes, the force of gravity is constantly pushing on us, and we do resist gravity every single day, all our lives, all the time that we're on the planet, all the time that we're alive. But that is not enough force, because that force, people still bend over, still get crimped, still have bone density loss. And so now you'll see them bent over, and automatically you'll see people start to fold forward and everything. But listen, you guys, bones are bones, they're structure. What people don't realize is that it's your muscles that literally pull the bones out of alignment. And the way we stand, our posture is based on what we do. Are we conscious of what we're doing? In other words, think of it like this. Why do you go to a chiropractor? Because your bones, or the disc in the bones, you can have these what they call subluxations in the spine. But how do we get those subluxations? It's the muscles that pull the bones out of alignment. So think about it. If you're right-handed, you're going to be stronger on the right side. So the right side muscles are going to pull those bones to the right side out of alignment. If you're left-handed and you do mostly things with the left side, he's going to pull those bones out of alignment to that way. So the thing is, you want to be balanced. Think about somebody playing tennis, just right hand, right hand, right hand, right hand, backhand. They're always this build up on the side, even if it's handball or pickleball, or whatever, we use a dominant hand. And like handball is neutral. You can go both ways. So we always want to do things in a balanced way, particularly while we're working out, and to actually create this bone density. The way I go about it is what increases more muscular force and bone force than anything else. Yes, it is weight-bearing exercise, but my thing is, this is my thing, go slow, like you lower yourself. It's the eccentric contraction. Put it this way. You can lift more than you can hold, but you can lift more than you can hold, and you can hold more than you can lower. So remember I talked about lowering weight? You can actually lower 40% more weight than you can push. In other words, if you can bench press 200 pounds, you can actually lower 280 pounds. So everyone knows, it's harder to walk up a mountain and it's easier to come down the mountain. Well, it's actually 40% easier. So the thing that I tell people to do is use the eccentric contraction, or the lowering phase, the elongating of the muscle phase. So if you're doing a push-up and you're lowering yourself down, slowly, 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 like that 10 seconds, now you increase muscular force and bone force like nothing else. And that's what makes the change. So it appears to be lighter and easier. So I don't care if you start off on the wall, because you might be weak. And so you can put your hands on the wall and just lower yourself 10 seconds to the wall and push back up. But don't lock your arms out. Keep a little tension on there. Lower yourself to the wall, literally 10 seconds down, and push yourself back up. Now I do that. Now I have a push day, a squat day, and a pull day. And that's why I separate everything so the body gets to recover. So if I push on Monday, I won't push again until Thursday, because I push on Monday, squat on Tuesday, pull on Wednesday. If you think about it, that's all the body does. It pushes, it squats, and it pulls. What else does it do? You have the core between your armpit and your hip, and then all the way around your body. And of course, that's normally the weakest part on the body. So you have to work the core and the spine. Now, the bones can't do anything by themselves. No, even with that structure, think about it like this. It's the muscular skeletal system. They work together. Think of it like this. Can the bones say to the muscles, I can walk without you? Or even think about the muscles. Can the muscles say to the bones, I can walk without you? See, even just to jump and to run and to move our bodies, Like I said, we have bones, we have tendons, ligaments. Tendons are what attaches bone to muscle, and ligaments attach bone to bone. And so the ligaments actually keeps us from moving so far, until we don't want to dislocate something. So that's their thing, to keep us all intact and keep us in a certain range of motion. But the muscles, the ligaments, the muscles attached to the bones, that's where it gives us this movement. And the thing is, we can do it faster when the nervous system is even firing better. So no, you have the neuromuscular system, but then you have the muscular skeletal system, and they all work together. Now, this is going to sound a little esoteric or a little funny to you because of maybe how you've learned about the human body. But, we have all of these so-called systems in the body. We have the digestive system, the respiratory system, the nervous system, the skeletal system, the muscular system, the reproductive system, the respiratory system. All of these systems, I know we learned them like that. I did the same thing. In my study, this is what I say to myself. There's no such thing as a system. No, all of these systems are all made up. They're made up and they're conjured up in language. And so what I want to tell you is that none of these systems can work without it. Just imagine, can the digestive say to the respiratory system, I can breathe without you? Think about it. Or the nervous system say to the skeletal system, I can move without you? Or even the digestive system saying, or the reproductive system saying to the nervous system, I can function without you. There is no separation, you guys, but because we learn the body as being separate, we treat it as being separate. And so we don't understand. Anything that affects the body affects the entire body. You got to get that. You got to get this concept. Anything that affects the body affects the entire body, because though there are so-called many systems, there's one body, because not one system can work without the other. So what if the limited channels, the limited system? What if your bowel says, well, you know what? I'm just shutting down. I'm not going to work. You can have all kinds of things backing up. What if the immune system says, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired of defending you guys. I'm tired of blocking everything that's coming at us, these viruses, bacteria, fungal forms, mold, yeast, candida. Now you're susceptible to everything. It doesn't work like that, you guys. Everything is connected. That's the one thing about holistic health that should be expressed that way. The whole body is one body. Though there are many members, there are lots of cells, you're just a bunch of cells bathing in two fluids, and that's blood and lymphatic fluid. So you want to change the body on your cellular level. Now, I know you don't think of bones as cells. You'll think of like muscles, you'll think of arteries and arterioles and veins and venules and capillaries and the cells and the space between the cells. But you don't think of bones. You don't think of blood flow, lymph flow, and nerve flow with the bone, but it's where the blood is made is in the bones. And if the bones don't get what they need, yes, they can fracture easily. They can have all kinds of problems. Think about it. I'm sure you heard of bone cancer. It's like, how in the world do you get bone cancer? It's like the bones are hard. It shouldn't happen like that. Yes, it does. And what we do to the bones, when we do something repeatedly, habitually, consistently, and daily, as to the bones, if it's too hard, they can fracture. They can get little cracks in them. And then you build and build and build up on that cracks, and everything gets even worse. My thing is, everybody knows, like basketball, I have so many basketball players that come onto the fire department. They may have made it to the pros or played in college. And so they get on and they can have, weaker knees or whatever, weak hips or back or whatever, because of that jumping over and over and over again and taking that impact, which all of that shock is multiplied in the bones. So think about it. You get a medicine ball, 20 pounds, no big deal. Take that 20 pounds and throw it up in the air and catch it. You think it weighs 20 pounds on the way down? Think again. No, you have to catch that gravitational force. You catch that resistance. Now this weight is multiplied several times. You catch the resistance, resist, and then go back up again and catch it again. Same thing in your body. When you jump up and down, the force is impacted. Some of you may have heard of plyometrics. You know how you jump off of a box, land, load the muscles, and jump back up onto another box. Well, that load is going into the muscles and bones. And if it's actually too much or if it's exaggerated, then you can have all kinds of health challenges in the bones. My thing is to build the bones slowly, because they will adapt. You hear me saying it over and over again. The body adapts to what you demand of it, specifically to what you demand of it. And that's what makes the difference. Hi, Audrey. That's what makes all the difference in the world. So listen, slow down. You have to slow down in order to speed up your bone density. Sounds like an oxymoron, right? No, literally. You have to slow down in order to speed up your muscular strength. You have to slow down to speed up your neurological strength. You have to slow down to speed up your fat loss. You have to slow down to speed up anything you want to build in your health. You have to slow down to do it. Because when you go slow, you literally increase muscular force and bone force like nothing else. But everybody wants to do things fast. And you know, if you do things fast without building the strength, you can hurt something. You can pull something. You can tear a joint, a ligament. Everybody knows that. Now all of a sudden you're getting some peas or an ice pack and put it on there to try to keep the inflammation down. I'm telling you, if you take your time and build up, it'll make all the difference in the world. Now I'll tell you, I've been running since I was 20 years old. I had never run a mile until I was 20 years old. And as a matter of fact, the first time I ran, it was 8/10 of a mile. It was around this park. You know, I measured it afterwards. But I just jogged around slowly, 8/10 of a mile, but I just fell out. It was in Watts. It was called Will Rogers Park at the time. And I think it's Ted Watkins Park. Anyways, 8/10 of a mile around. I ran around that park and just fell out on the ground. This was at night, and everybody just stood over me like, what the heck? But I'm serious. It was like I was exhausted. But I got up again the next day and went around the park again. And this one guy, a friend of mine, he's my brother-in-law, he said, you know what? If you really want to save yourself, if you want to save your joints, run on the balls of your feet. Now think about it. I know when most people jog, they jog with that heel plant and then they roll off the ball of their foot. So they plant it down and roll off, plant it down and roll off like that. Well, when I started running on the balls of my feet. And the reason for that is the calf muscle, the gastrocnemius muscle, is the most dense muscle in the body. And so all of that shock that would normally go through my heel, into the ankle, into the knee, into the hip, into the back, and up the spine was all absorbed by the gastrocnemius, by the calf muscle. So I've been jogging and jogging. I would literally run 15 miles on the balls of my feet. Well, because I built up to it. And I would do 7-mile runs every day. That was part of my daily routine. I mean, that's just what I did. This was before the fire department. So when I got on, you know, I would sprint. I wasn't doing Kenneth Hahn then, but I would sprint up this street called Valley Ridge. And then most of you, and some of you know that street. And at that time, Magic Johnson lived at the top. But I would sprint up that thing and I would go to Rancho Cienega and run around the track, but always on the balls of my feet. Do you know right now at my age, in my late 60s, I have no joint pains, no aches, literally no pains, no problem. You know, I'm saying wear glasses or whatever. And I jumped rope even. I would jump rope for an hour at the fire station because sometime back I found out that 10 minutes of jumping rope was equal to 30 minutes of jogging. Again, because jogging is horizontal, right? But if you run up a hill, it's harder. But if you run up a mountain, the incline is even harder. But what incline is higher than straight up and down? There is none. Jumping rope is diametrically opposed to gravity. Just like bouncing on the trampoline, which is maybe what some of you ought to do instead of jumping right now, so you build up that adaptability. But I would literally jump up and down for an hour. I would jump. I would hop on one leg, then the other, and then twice on the right, then twice on the left, then 3 times on the right and 3 times on the left. I would go all the way up to 100, then do 100 again, and then come down 99 on this leg, 99, 98, 97, 96, all the way down. And literally, then after that, I would do bounding. You know, we had a big yard at Fire Station 44s. And I would just do these bounding exercises after, just jump up in the air. It's like trying to jump up and forward. And I would just bound. I would do all of this so-called stuff that would cause trauma to most people. And I would be able to catch it all because I was doing it on the balls of my feet. And I know most people a lot younger than me have aches and pains and hips and joint and bad knees. And, you know, I'll do a one-leg pistol squat, slowly do a pistol squat, go 10 seconds down, and they'll think like, what the heck is that? But that's the adaptability of the body, you guys. You put the bones and muscle together, you build those strong muscles and strong bones. I'm telling you, you can do anything you want to do. I don't care where you are today. I don't care if you have challenges right now. All of that pain, listen, if you have pain, all it is too much acid, a lack of oxygen, and inflammation. Let me say it again. Pain in your body is too much acid. Remember, inflammatory. Acid is caustic, it's abrasive, it's harsh, it burns, it's corrosive, it's inflammatory. So it's too much acid, a lack of oxygen, because even oxygen would help take that pain away. A lack of oxygen and inflammation. So if you get rid of that acid, you get rid of that pain, you get rid of that inflammation, that's the way to do it. But see, we want to get rid of the pain with Motrin or Advil or whatever else we take, Vicodin. And I know, like, if you're getting your teeth pulled and stuff like that, don't get me wrong, pain management is important. When we take people in the ambulance and they had pain, no, you got to take care of that. That's why I said, yes, I think you should always use drugs as a stopgap, to stop pain or bleeding, or if someone's having a heart attack, you want to increase more circulation to the heart, with nitroglycerin and all that. So I don't have a problem with that systemically, and I don't have a problem with doctors in that sense. We have to do what we have to do for the body as a stopgap. But systemically, I just don't believe you can poison the body into health. I don't think you can take more and more toxic drugs made in a laboratory, put them in an already toxic body and expect it to improve. And my contention is simple. If drugs can make an already sick person healthy, then my contention is they should make a healthy person healthier. I just don't see it. Now, you can correct me, you can challenge me, you can type something up or tell me something, but that's the way I see it. But I'm telling you, your bones, giving your frame, whatever, you can't take them for granted, because all of you have parents, you may have aunts and uncles and grandparents, and you can see their posture. They always say that older people get shorter. What is that about? They used to be 6'2", now they're 6 feet. It's like because the discs get compressed, and I get that. But the thing is, that's why you want to be elongated. That's why you want good posture. You don't want all that stuff to go down. That's why you want to stretch your body out. That's why you want to carry good posture. Don't let your body just sag. Remember, gravity is pulling down on you. So you got to deliberately, intentionally, and purposefully resist that gravity and move the body in every area and every range of motion, literally through the full range of motion. And then after you do that and work it out, then stretch. Because again, it's the muscles that pull the bones out of alignment, and then you go to chiropractor. I used to go to the chiropractor early on just to do it for a massage, but I don't think about it now. If I have a deal or whatever, and I can do something suddenly or pull something, whatever, put some ice on it, balance it out, let it go, take the inflammation out, and that's it. And that's why I remember, oh gosh, I was working at Fire Station 5s in Westchester. It actually used to be on Manchester. Now they built a new station, but we used to play volleyball every day for dishes. It was the truck company against the engine company. And we would play vigorously because we didn't want to wash dishes. That's the competitiveness of firefighters, right? Well, the engine is the small equipment, if you will. It's a small truck with the water inside. The fire truck is the long one, where it takes 2 people to drive. You have the driver in the front, and then you have the tillerman in the back. So the guys that were on the truck were always challenging the guys that were on the engine. And so we battled it every morning, which was part of our exercise. So we played volleyball all day. And so we jump up and play and bounce and all that. So one day I jumped up to block a ball. And when I came down on the guys on the opposite team's foot, and it twisted my ankle. And it was hurting. But I was working 2 weeks in a row because I wanted to take off for 2 months. So I was working my regular days and then some overtime days because I collected all my days together. So literally I could take off. Maybe I shouldn't be saying that. Huh? Well, I'm retired now, but I paid my dues. So I took the days and I was going to take 2 months off. So I don't want to lose those overtime days. So I got a guy to work for me the next day just to take a day for me so I wouldn't lose the other days. So we traded days. That's what you can do. And so I went home and I got a bucket of ice water with ice cubes in it. And then I got a bucket of hot water, as hot as I can stand. So I put my foot in that bucket of ice water for 10 minutes, and then in that hot water for 10, and then back in the ice water for 10, and then back in the hot water for 10. And then another time, back in the ice water for 10 and the hot for 10. I did that twice that day, put on an ace bandage, and I was playing volleyball the next day. Well, now I know it's called contrast therapy. Why? Because the ice, the cooling pushes the inflammation out, pushes the blood out. The body brings blood into a joint. That's why it swells up. is really the body's way of immobilizing the joint. So it's like a natural cast. It wants to keep everything immobilized, keep it from moving and injuring yourself even more. Well, I'm doing this contrast therapy because I want to work. So I put it in there. The cold water pushed the inflammation out, but the hot water brought the blood back in. The cold water pushed it out, brought it back in, pushed it out, brought it back in. I literally got like 2 weeks worth of healing in 1 hour. And then I did it again for another hour. And I literally was able to play without pain the next day. And I think that's what cold plunging is about today. It's like they discovered some special thing. But yeah, it pushes all the heat. It pushes all the blood out of the body, where all of the inflammation comes from. And then boom, you come out and you get used to it. I'm telling you, I have a friend now. She cold plunges all the time. She said her aches and pains, all this stuff left. I get it. Use the whole body. You've seen the athletes get in there. That's why they're able to recover and play again. This is all because the bones, even though they're hard, they're tough, they're structured, your bones are alive. Your bones are alive and animated. Your bones think and deliberates and makes decisions. And they speak to you through signs and symptoms. That's why you're going to have aches and pains. But the aches and pains of the body is not asking for some painkiller, not for Motrin, not Advil, not for some other kind of narcotic. The body is trying to get you to associate where the pain was coming from, what you did to cause that pain, so you can stop doing that so it can be relieved. Now, yeah, you give yourself the contrast therapy, the ice, or whatever it is to get rid of it. But whatever you did, if it wasn't just a sudden exertion or sudden move that caused it, you remedy that, but you can build your muscle to be able to take it and build it through the full range of motion. Some of us, we're strong and fast, whatever, but we still have a limited range of motion. So when the body is thrown outside a normal range of motion that we've created, now it goes over and beyond and it pulls. And that's what tears things apart. So my thing is become flexible. Yeah, I don't do yoga that much. I did do yoga a while back, but I stretch on my own. So you wouldn't think of the bones. Well, what does the bones got to do with stretching? Well, that's where the tendons come in. They connect muscle to bone. The ligaments, bone to bone. They don't move as much, but you still have to stretch them. I mean, think about it. How can someone go from being stiff, not touching their toes, to touching their toes, to getting their hands flat on the pavement, to stepping up on the curb and getting your hands flat on the street while standing on the curb? Or somebody can do the Chinese splits or American splits. We didn't come out of the, well, by and large, we did come out of the womb really flexible, but that's because all the bones and connective tissue was soft. And I mean, I remember I could put both of my legs behind my head when I was even up to like 10, 11 years old. I mean, I wish I had kept doing that. You know, of course I didn't. You grow and you just forget about it and you do what you do. But I'm telling you guys, any questions out there? Let's see. Hey, but that's the thing with the bones. I know we think of it as kind of this inert part of the body, and we don't know how important it is. We think it just, and we may not even think that it just gives us structure and gives us frame. But the thing is, it's so important in our vital life. And so when you take care of your bones and take care of your muscles, you take care of your organs. Well, think about it. Your heart, which I know you know is important, is framed around this sternum. And think about it. This sternum is a strong bone right here. That's why when we do CPR, we push on it and it hardly moves, but we still have to push it down 1.5 inches to 2 inches in an adult. But it's all flexible. And then we know the ribs, or we call them the intercostal muscles, they frame the chest. And so the lungs, the thoracic section of the body. So they protect your lungs. And so if something comes in, you might crack a rib, but hopefully it doesn't go into the lung. That's the thing. So all of these things are protection. And if they're weak, they get crushed easier. Think about it like this. This is one of the things I'll never forget. When I was a rookie on the job, it was literally the first time I had to do CPR. So it was this older lady. I think she was definitely in her 70s, between 70 and 80. But she'd had a heart attack. And now I have to do CPR. So I get in, I do my hands on there, and I push down like 1.5 inches to 2 inches. And all I hear is crunch, 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 crunch. And of course, now I want to go easy because I'm crunching this lady's ribs. Crunching. The guy tells me, it's like, don't stop. Better with fractured ribs than not living. So I had to do it again and push, and I'm pushing. It's like crunch, crunch, crunch. Every time I'm doing CPR, and it's just like, okay, I'm a rookie. Just do what he says no matter what. So I'm doing a CPR. We defibrillator. She gets a heartbeat. I mean, this is the best thing. Put her on the gurney, put her in the ambulance, start heading over to the hospital. She flatlines again. Now I'm ready. It's like, okay, we brought her back, crunching those ribs. It didn't matter to me. So now I'm doing CPR again. CPR, pumping it up there, give her oxygen, defibrillator again. She has a pulse. I mean, literally, we got all the way to the hospital. She maintained her pulse and we dropped her off. And I'm telling you, that I just thank God that I learned everything I learned on the job and what I learned about the body there, and then went to school to learn what I learned now. It's like every single cell in your body is alive. Don't take it for granted, you guys. Those of you that, like I said, have parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles that may have bone deformations or osteoporosis or osteoarthritis, that doesn't have to be to you. And I know I talked about cellular memory. And so you think, well, if your parents or grandparents had osteoporosis or osteoarthritis or rheumatoid arthritis or whatever it may be, you think that you're doomed to have that. And you're not. For the most part, what we call what runs in the family, no, it's the diet that runs in the family. It's the attitude that runs in the family. It's the lack of exercise that runs in the family. It's the thinking pattern that runs in the family. It's our language, that same language that's repeated habitually, consistently, and daily that runs in the family. What we say to ourselves runs in the family because we've heard it our entire lives. That's why I always say, whatever you pay attention to comes to live in you as your thought life and is expressed in your destiny and circumstances. And we're creating that same lifestyle of our parents and grandparents because we saw it repeatedly, habitually, consistently, and daily. I can tell you straight up, whatever you look at, the whole thing with your senses, I know the Bible says, give your body as a living sacrifice. Well, my idea of that is don't be body ruled. Don't let your senses always just tell you what to do. Watch what you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. That's the body. That's how we come in contact with the physical world. And so we hear stuff from my parents, we think that's the way it is. Like I was telling you the other night, we have a thinking pattern. And so if we think in terms of poverty, we literally will live in a world of lack. If we think in terms of disease, we'll live in a world of illness. If we think in the terms of fear, we're going to live in a frightening world. How we think is how the world occurs to us. Think about it. How you language upon life is how it occurs to you. If you say that's hard, well, it registers in your nervous system as being hard. But someone else can come and say, oh, that's easy. Well, what is it? Is it hard or easy? Well, it's how you language it is. That's why I always say your personality is your personal reality because of how you think about it. It sounds esoteric, you guys, but I tell you, we live in a world of language. And what we hear in our language, what we repeat to ourselves in our language, ourselves are listening to our language. Ourselves are literally acquiescing to our language. It's acquiescing to what we think, feel, and believe. And then our cells buy into it, and your cells say, okay, we're getting weaker, we're getting sicker, I'm getting older, I'm not going to live that long. The doctor said I had this ailment. He gave me 2 years to live. And we repeat it to ourselves. We go around and think of that and worry. I'm telling you, worry dissipates the bones. It's biblical. Yeah, worry, loneliness, all of these emotions, they sap life and energy from the body. And the life and energy is in every single cell in the body. That's why I said last night, the life that's in your body is equal to the energy minus the obstructions. Now, I know we can have physical obstructions in the body, but by and large, I'm talking about the mental, emotional, and spiritual obstructions in the body. We think we're just supposed to fold up like a cheap suitcase because somebody said something to us. We have to take our lives back. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm just languaging what I'm languaging. That's why I'm coming up to you guys Monday through Thursday. As a matter of fact, before I forget, I know it's been live at 5, but Monday is going to be at 6 o'clock. It works better for me and probably for some of you that get off work where you can be home and connect. But so next week, we're going to start at 6 o'clock instead of 5. So I can take care of other things I need to take care of and be more available to you without having to run away or think about something else. Because even as I language things to you, I don't want to be distracted by what I have to do. Most of what we do, we kind of do in passing. We do out of habit. We do out of routine. No, your life is literally hidden in your daily routine. And that daily routine could be killing you. That daily routine could be shrinking and just burrowing through your bones. That daily routine could be leaching that calcium out. That daily routine could be harming you, but you've been doing it so long, you think it's a thing to do. Well, that's what the new year is all about. It's about reassessing your life. I mean, I know we think of our lives in terms of years, but we only have so many days in time and space. And yeah, there can be lots of days. That's what I plan on. But we have to do what's necessary in order to have those days. Because this is our life and it's happening right now in this moment. And this literally in this 0 to 5 seconds. What are we going to do to strengthen our bones? What are we going to do to strengthen our muscles? What are we going to do to expand our lung capacity? What are we going to do to get rid of the fat that's overlaid, which is literally just excess energy that sits on our body? What are we going to do? It improves everything. What are we going to do to increase our heart rate so our heart pumps more blood with less heartbeats? That's what we're going to know. We have to do something about it because all of that affects our glands and organs, which are the government in the body. And if you don't take care of them, I'm telling you, you don't move, you lose. You really do. That's why the body wants to stay where it is. If you sit a long time, your body wants to stay in that L shape, that your back, your legs, it wants to stay there because it does it so long. That's why I was saying last night, sitting is the new smoking. But you know what's worse than smoking? Is sitting, lack of sleep, and loneliness. Literally. You wouldn't think that affects your lungs like smoking, but it does. It's like you guys got, I know, if you sit, I'm going to just tell you this. If you sit, because this works the bones as well, after 20 minutes, just get up, walk around, do some squats, move your arms and legs. I call it a full body extension. It's like you're going to dive off a diving board and raise your arms up, squat and raise it up, squat and raise it up. And just do that for 60 seconds and then sit back down. And every 20 minutes, just get up, 60 seconds. It's worth it. I don't think anybody's going to say anything to you. I tell you, you'll come away with everything fitting and moving in your body like you never thought before. My thing is to take it slow, take it line upon line. I'm sorry, trying to make sure my time is right. Oh, good. Any questions out there? Let's see. I've lost a challenge. Can being overweight cause lower back pain? Yes. Remember, gravity is always exerting itself on us. So being overweight, that weight is constantly pushing down on the spine, pushing down on the lower back. But I don't want that to be an excuse because you can strengthen your back and your abs and your entire core, even at the weight you're at. Because just like you can adapt to any amount of weight, or for the most part, you can adapt to the weight you have. And in doing so, while doing that, you can decrease the weight. So you'll be able to hold it. You can manage it. The thing is just take it slow. Like I said, most trainers get with people and push them too hard and try to prove that they're a great trainer. And they wind up injuring them. Now that you're injured, now you're immobilized for 2-3 months. So once you get immobilized, now you gain more weight, you get weaker, you have less strength in your heart, lungs, bones, tissues, all that. So now you don't want to do anything. And so, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I get it. That being short and having all that weight. I remember a lady years ago, she was 5 feet by 5 feet. I know that sounds so weird. 5 feet tall by 5 feet tall, but it doesn't matter. You can change all that. Just the way it got there, you can turn it around and move it away. And this is my belief. This is my contention. You can actually take it away faster because when you have a clear track, a clear road to take, you can just keep moving along. But see, if you do all kinds of different things, well, I'm going to try this diet, I'm going to try that diet, I'm going to try this exercise and try that exercise. It's time out for trying, you guys. Like I said, I'm my own visual aid. I'm my own PowerPoint. That's all I can say to you, what I can do at my age. And I don't think it's an anomaly. It's not an accident. And if you want to do it, you can do it. And see, the thing is, people keep saying they want to do stuff. They can say they want to do it. Let me tell you plain as day. The proof of desire is in pursuit. The proof of desire is in pursuit. People can say, oh, I want to lose weight. Oh, I want to do this and learn Spanish. Oh, I want to learn to play tennis. Oh, I want to, you can say all what you want to do. Saying what you want to do is not doing the thing. Writing about what you want to do is not doing a thing. Reading about what you want to do is not doing a thing. Talking about what you want to do is not doing a thing. Really imagining what people will say to you when you do what you say you want to do is not doing a thing. There's so many things that we substitute for doing a thing. We think we're doing a thing. And we're not doing a thing. We're doing everything surrounded by doing a thing. And we get some feeling of satisfaction because we think we're doing a thing. And you're not doing a thing. Until you do the thing is not being done. So when you say you want to do something, how do you demonstrate that? I mean, look, if you say, okay, I want to learn to speak Spanish, but you don't watch Spanish TV, you don't have any Spanish books, you don't have any Spanish, digital recordings, you don't have a Spanish friend, you're not looking at anything Spanish, you're not going on social media, listening to the word Spanish, you're not listening to books in Spanish, you don't want to speak Spanish. As much as you say, oh, I love Spanish, it's such a romantic language, I love how it flows. No comprendo. No, you don't want to speak Spanish. I know that's clear to you guys. So all of the stuff you say, you know how many people start their New Year's resolutions and literally 2 weeks in, it's over? Now they can have the intention to do it and they can actually start to do it. But once they start to do it and they run up against the obstacles or what can be a structure or a hurdle, whatever you want to call it, that hurdle has more power over them wanting to do it. And so that's what stops them. And that's why I was at a lecture in Simi Valley. No, it was Encino. I was a lecturer in Encino. And this lady said, oh my gosh, Dr. Brooks, I've been trying to lose weight for 5 years. I've done this diet and this diet and all. She named up all of these diets. I don't even want to name them. But she named up all of these diets that she did. And I was saying, and here I'm up at the mic in front of everybody in this restaurant that's eating and listening to me. She said, I really want to lose. You know what I do? And I got on the mic and said, you don't want to lose weight. Everybody was like, woo. And she said, yeah, but I tried this and I tried that. And I said, yeah, I get that, but you don't want to lose weight. Everybody's like, gosh, who is this guy? What's he saying? I said, wait a minute, ma'am. What's your name? I said, okay, you tried this diet, that diet, this other diet, several other diets and all that. And I said, so I think it was like April at what time. And so I asked her, okay, you have April. Okay, what if you had all of the rest of this year till January 1st? So what if Elon Musk wrote you a check for $100 million and put your name on it and had it waiting to be delivered into a bank account on January 1st if you lost all the weight? Could you do it from April to January 1st? The whole audience went up, was like, yeah. They weren't even involved. I'm talking to this lady. But they're all, yeah, they can do it. It's like, well, wait a minute. Why could you do it in these few months and you couldn't do it in 5 years? It goes to motive. You don't want to do it. You want to eat or watch TV or not exercise or do whatever else you do without doing what it takes to lose the weight. That's why I say the proof of desire is in pursuit. Your life, literally your entire life, every aspect of your life is hidden in your daily routine. Look at your daily routine. Don't tell me what you think and feel, what would be nice to think and feel, what would be good to think and feel, what would be the best thing to do for my life. No, your life is hidden in your daily routine. What do you do? What are you demonstrating? That's your life. You can say all kinds of things, but what are you demonstrating? What you're demonstrating is what you think, feel, and believe. Your life literally is a demonstration of what you think, feel, and believe, not what you would like to think, feel, and believe. Not what you tell others you think, feel, and believe. I mean, that's the whole thing where the tree is known by its fruit. We think it's all just super spiritual and this and that and whatever else. No, you plant an apple seed, you're going to get an apple tree. But what we do is plant the apple seed, pray for months for a peach tree, and then get the apple tree and say that ain't nothing but the devil. No, it ain't nothing but the devil. You sowed an apple seed, and so you get an apple tree. And so when you sow sickness and disease, you get sickness and disease. When you sow health, you'll get health. But if you sow it sparingly, you'll reap it sparingly. It's the law of cause and effects, you guys. Don't make it super spiritual. What you do, you're planting something every single day. You're paying attention to something every single day. That thing that you're paying attention to is coming to live in you. Here, let me say it like this. Whatever you pay attention to, the spirit of that thing is coming to live in you. And it's worked out in your circumstances and in your life. And you're going to demonstrate that. It has to be demonstrated. There's nothing else. You can't sit around and demonstrate life. You can't sit and sit and sit and sit and sit. And then you're going to demonstrate life. Life is being sucked and drained out of you because your body is responding to what you're doing or not doing. This is it, you guys. This is the life. This is life. We're here right now in time and space. What are we going to do about it? Listen, if you don't die, you'll be here a year from now. How are you going to look? How are you going to feel? How are you going to think? How are you going to move? Are you going to be sore? Are you going to be older? Are you going to be bent over? Are you going to lose more muscular strength? Are you going to increase your body fat? Is your lungs going to be shrinking even more than they ever were before? Are your bones going to thin out like most people do? 32 years on the fire department, I saw people decline. Are you going to lose that cardiac output? Are you going to lose how much your heart can pump? Well, see, you can stab those things off. You can turn around and walk in another direction. And you know what you have to do? You have to become the person that's healthy. That's what I think about. You know, when Jesus told Nicodemus, you must be born again. Again, that's the language of that day. You must be born again. He was telling Nicodemus, you must become someone else. You want to be healthy? You have to become that healthy person. You want to be strong? You have to become that strong person. If you want stronger muscles, become the person with stronger muscles. If you want less body fat, become the person with less body fat. If you want to expand your lungs, your tidal volume, become the person that expands their lungs. That's what you have to do. Think about it. If you want to increase your cardiac output, your heart capacity, you have to become the person that does that. You have to become the person that creates dense bone tissue. And you can't do it because it's been done. It's been done by multiple people. I mean, you've seen people. I know some of you guys know David Goggins. You've seen this guy. He was tall, big, and overweight, and did what he had to do, became a Navy SEAL and a Ranger. And now he's still out there killing it. And he's going out there saying, hey, you know, if you fall, you get an obstacle, something comes in your way, and you trip and stumble or whatever, and you break an arm. I know, he's funny. He said, that's all right. Get up, keep going, stay hard. I love it. But this is it, you guys. This is your one and only life. And I'm just trying to be here to hopefully lead you or guide you and set you on this path. And you can take it off. You don't even have to take it from me. That's not the thing. I just want to motivate you to change your life. Let's see the truth. Yeah, the truth of desire is improved. Yes, it is. No, it ain't no, as my boy Carl. No, this ain't no game. This is your life. See, the thing that changed it for me was being on a job for 32 years. Like I said the other day, delivering a baby one day and pronouncing 5 people dead the next. That was my experience. It's like, oh my gosh, you can go out of here like that. Just like a switch. I mean, you know, when you work within the district where I was working, you get to know the people in your district. So, you know, I know Carlos Ambrose. I know Mr. Jones over here. I know this person over here. You know, you can hear the address over the PA system and you know, oh my gosh, that's so-and-so's house. And you get there and you get to know the people. And then you get there and it's like, oh my gosh, the wife is dead. And now the husband is like, oh gosh, I can't take it. I can't take it. It should have been me. I should have died. She could take it if I died, but I can't take it if she died. And then he gets out and just runs out the door and starts running down the street. And then I got to go chase him down or whatever. I'm like, if I'm totally out of shape, how am I going to catch him? I'll go get a fire and run up the ladder. I'm telling you, that's what I was telling you guys yesterday. We have to do this thing called up and over twice a day. Just imagine running up an 8-story building with a ladder bolted onto a concrete building. We have to literally run up as fast as we can, run across the roof, come down the fire escape, climb in through the 2nd-story window, slide the pole, and run around the entire building twice, and do that twice a day, every day that we worked. Because it was conditioning us. We were doing it over and over again. And yeah, we felt tired, we felt exhausted, but I'm telling you, at the end of the time, we were exhilarated. We knew we can do it. We knew that sensation was telling our bodies and hormones that we were fit for survival, that we were fit to be firefighters, that we were fit for the challenge that was to come, that we were fit, that anything that we would counter on the job, we were fit to take care of it. We didn't have to be afraid. We knew that our hose line would work. We knew that our protective equipment would work. We knew that our breathing apparatus would work. We knew that everything, all the protective equipment and things that they gave us would work because we got to do it over and over and over again. That's how we got belief. That's the way it came out. You know, think about what's a habit, because you have to cultivate a habit to take you through. People say, oh, I don't have enough discipline. Oh, that's okay. We never have all enough discipline. But if you can cultivate the habit will take you much further than discipline ever will. And what's a habit? It's an acquired mode of behavior. That's the key word. It is acquired. You may not have it now, but you can definitely acquire it. So it is an acquired mode of behavior that becomes addictive, compulsory, involuntary. It literally becomes a mandatory way of acting, fixed through repetition. That's the key. You have to do it. As soon as you do something twice, you start to cultivate the habit. Now you do it 3 times, 4 times. Just move yourself through the habit. Once you cultivate the habit will keep going. It'll take you along. So now what is a belief? That's what people don't understand. Well, a belief is a habit of mind. A belief is a habit of mind in which we put trust or confidence in a person, place, or thing. Well, in this case, the trust or confidence is going to be in what we've done and what we can do. And that's how we signal the body and hormones that we're fit to do what we've been caused to do. We're fit to do what we came into time and space to do. I feel like I'm fit to say what I'm saying to you today, to share that, to get you motivated, to cultivate the habit, to cultivate the belief that you can carry on when discipline won't just always keep you there. And you can share. I'm here to create a village, you guys, a community. Because I'm telling you, I'll say it again. I told you, I wrote an article years ago on Black health. Black people only represent 13-14% of the country, but we lead the entire country in high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, stroke, cancer, obesity, kidney failure, fibroid tumors, endometriosis, ovarian cysts, respiratory problems, you name it, we lead the country in it. And my challenge was, what the heck is going on? How does this happen? How can arguably the strongest people, the most athletic, the most agile, the most spiritual be the shortest living? And I asked, is it diet? Is it racial tension? Is it socioeconomic? Is that our view and map of the world? Is it lack of exercise? And it's some of all of that. I know it already comes down to what we think, feel, and believe about ourselves. What we believe about ourselves is how we live life, is how we negotiate life. Now, someone else could tell us this is the way we are, but if we don't buy into it, we can live another whole life. And that's why I say succinctly, you must become someone else. You must become the person that wants to do that. And I know we think of shifting identity. No, you must become someone else, because who you are was language to you as you grew up. You might not think you're so smart. You might not think you can do this or that or whatever. Yes, you can. You learn to read, you learn to write, you learn to tie your shoes, you learn to ride a bike, you learn to drive, you learn to do so many things. You were disciplined long enough to cultivate so many different things. I mean, right now, all the talents, gifts, and experiences that you have is enough to do anything that you want to do. So marry what you love to do and move into that and attach that as your motivation and move into it. I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm passionate about this, but let's see. Any questions? Let's see. Amazing. Oh, I appreciate that. Thanks, Reggie. Oh, gosh. Well, it's 6 o'clock. Any comments? Now, remember, next week I'll be talking at 6 o'clock, and we're going to talk about the heart. So we did the muscular strength, the body fat, how your lungs shrink, your bones thin out, and how you lose that cardiac output. So important. How do you strengthen that cardiac output? This is the number one. The heart, like I said, has more mitochondria in it than any other cells, tissues, or organs in the body, because this thing has to keep going while we sleep, while we doze off, while we get the itis after eating Christmas dinner. The heart has to keep beating. And so the thing is, we want to build the mitochondria. Remember, the mitochondria are the energy-producing cells in the body. And the medical field said that aging is a decline in mitochondrial function. And so if aging is a decline in mitochondrial function, I simply ask myself, well, how do I increase mitochondrial function? As a matter of fact, how do I increase more mitochondria? How do I increase the energy producing cells, the furnaces in the body to burn the fat? I don't have to worry about fat. I can just build more muscle, more furnaces, more mitochondria. That'll eat up the fat. It's like Pac-Man. If you had more Pac-Man, can they eat up more of the stuff? Of course they could. So that's all we want to do. Do that, and do that in every cell, tissue, and organ. And then you'll know what you're capable of. It'll be there. Anyway, you guys, I appreciate you guys being here. Remember, again, next week will be at 6 o'clock. If you want to sign up for the Total Body Reset, go to Total Body Reset Now, N-O-W, totalbodyresetnow.com. And that's what it is. But next Monday, I'm going to talk about the heart and how important it is. And it's not just going to be the physiological heart. It's going to be the spiritual heart, the emotional, the mental heart. Because without it, we don't even live and move. We don't want to do anything. We want to be complacent, apathetic, passive. You don't want a life like that. A life like that tells your body, we don't even need to be here. We're just wasting our time. You think depression, anxiety, and worry is just And emotions are a passing thing. Emotions are transient and fickle. They come and they go because they go with our thinking. Remember, I was saying your emotions are a byproduct of your thinking, not of your circumstances. And you can say, well, no, I'm upset because this happened. No, you're upset because of what you think about what happened. But that same thing can happen to you on another occasion and you just laugh it off. So it can't be the thing. It's the state that you're in. What mental, emotional, and spiritual state do you wake up in? Do you cultivate? Do you grow? What are you paying attention to? That's what's creating the state. So you need to be clear about what you're paying attention to. You know, I read the Bible, and this is where I got it from. My son, attend to my words, incline your ear to my sayings. Don't let them depart from your eyes. Keep them in the midst of your heart. Why? Because my words, these words that I speak, are literally life unto those that find them and medicine to all their flesh. Yes, words can be medicine to your flesh. But if you say the wrong words, they can be sickness to your flesh. Chew on that till next week, huh? What are you saying to yourself? What is going on in your internal dialogue? What are your cells listening to? What are your cells eavesdropping on 24/7? You know, a lot of times it comes out of your mouth. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. That scripture presupposes that we are what we speak. That's why it comes up and out. So you got to guard your mouth, guard your mind, watch what you see, watch what you say, change your life across the board, because we are going to become someone else, the person that we came into time and space to be, and we can do it together. Anyway, you guys, my time is up. I hope I'll see you next week. Kidney care, yeah. We'll talk about kidney care. Just ask the question next week. If you guys are gonna have questions, write them down now, and you'll be ready for next week. Okay. Appreciate you guys. Love you. Enjoy. Have a good weekend, because I won't be here on Friday, but I will pick it up again on Monday at 6 p.m. Remember, totalbodyresetnow.com. All right, take care.